Nvidia just helped this meme stock go up over 140% in one day. But you might be wondering, why am I even talking about this stock? Funny enough, I actually own this stock and it's probably one of my biggest losers. So I want to share what's going on with Cerence and share my overall story because I think it shows how even if you are right, you can still be wrong. Let's take a closer look in today's episode, but first make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button as this is going to be the best place you're going to find any semiconductor news. Also, check out the pinned comment for special offer at fool.com/Jose and check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechip.happened.com. So let's get started.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so first, let's just quickly start with my story. And Cerence was a stock that was first covered in my channel in January 5th of 2020. It's pretty crazy. I've been doing this YouTube thing for quite a while. And looking at that video, it definitely shows how I have evolved as an investor and also a content creator, and also how much weight I've put on in the past few years as well. Now, the biggest thing about this is too long, don't watch. My main bullish point for Cerence is that it was building conversational AI for the automotive market. And I believe AI was going to be the future. If we kind of take a closer look at this overall max, we can see when I first talked about this company, the stock was sitting at around $20. Then we had kind of this whole COVID craze and every stock was just going up like crazy, where the stock saw some massive returns. And it was funny, right? Because it's a learning experience. And I mentioned, right, that you can both be right and wrong at the same time. And I want to say I believe I was right because I thought AI was going to be the future. And a few years later, AI took over the industry, right? ChatGPT took over nearly 3 years after that first video of Cerence. ChatGPT came out on December of 2022. And my first video of this was, like I mentioned, January of 2020. Now, I was happy that AI was a thing because a lot of my investments were focused around that aspect. Unfortunately, with innovation, two things happen. First is sometimes the innovation and the rate of adoption takes a lot longer than you think. As we saw, my bullish thesis for Cerence was in early 2020. It took multiple years for us to really see that technology evolve. The second thing is that sometimes that innovation that you are bullish on can destroy moats of companies pretty quickly. And that is what happened with Cerence overall. Large language model was a huge rival to conversational AI. So where Cerence used to have a moat, that moat was now becoming a form of commodity by other players like OpenAI and other companies as well. So there are other aspects why the stock is failing. One other thing was the core revenue being dependent on the automotive market, and the automotive market has been extremely weak for the past few years. But this lesson came with amazing learning points. So I just want to share these learning points because there are certain industries that I believe are looking like this stock did a few years ago. And it's funny how the market forgets. So the first thing is valuations can go up like crazy and can stay crazily elevated for a long time. The second thing that we can see is once the market pulls down, things can pull down pretty hard. So just be careful. I know we're seeing things like this in like quantum computing right now. And I want to say my second learning point was probably the best learning point that I got from this. Let your winners win, which is the most important thing. Even though Cerence failed because of other big winners like Nvidia, it barely affected my portfolio. Now, if I had sold my winners early, if I would have sold Nvidia early, then that would have been a bigger hit on my portfolio than having this loser. And that is why I enjoy my investment style of a growth investor, focusing in markets that can grow dramatically. But I can never only choose one player. It's because of the experience that I have seen through my own investment style. Now, I want to say over the years, though, I have become more likely to have less positions than when I first started. For example, I think when I was investing in 2020, I had already a few years in the investing world. I had kind of, I want to say 40, 50 plus positions in my overall portfolio. Now that has changed dramatically. I want to say my core products are less than 15 companies at a time, right? And I try to shift them over time and over the years. So it has definitely been a nice learning stage. And I think as any investor, experiences like this is what help you evolve to become a better investor. So I pretty much learned is you can be right about the innovation taking place, but so many things can go wrong, like the timeline, or like I mentioned, how that same innovation that you were bullish on was the reason your investment didn't make it. Now, that's my overall story. Now, I kind of want to talk a little bit of what's happening with Cerence. So, I mentioned this is a company that is focusing on conversational AI and is mainly meant on the automotive market. Very similar to Soundhound, right? Many people might think of it as a Soundhound competitor. I personally enjoy Cerence a little bit more than Soundhound. Soundhound definitely has its own industry and it's really focusing more kind of like in the restaurant and hospitality market, where Cerence, its core market is more the mobility space. So while they both focus in conversational AI, they both have their own segments. At the moment, I have no intentions of buying Cerence at the moment, and I have no intentions of buying Soundhound either. Now, I want to talk about the news that really drove the stock price to kind of go up. So Cerence AI expands collaborations with Nvidia to advance its LLM family of language models. Now, the reason I don't like companies in the AI space right now is they use Nvidia. A lot of companies use Nvidia just to make it seem like they're the next big thing. And for example, here, if we look at the title of this press release, the company will leverage the NVIDIA AI enterprise software platform, including the NVIDIA Tensor RT LLM open source library and the NVIDIA NeMo framework to optimize performance. So, I mean, just from that, you can see that this isn't really a partnership or a collaboration. It's just Cerence, one way or another, just being a big customer of NVIDIA and using NVIDIA software solutions to improve their own solution. So I think this is just more of how NVIDIA continues to win. So I want to say there's a lot of just fluff here in this press release. And this is why I personally don't get too excited when I see this. I think this gives me bad taste. So I have no intentions of buying any Cerence at the moment. I also have no intentions of selling it at the moment right now, right? It's such a small position in my overall portfolio. To be honest, what I'm right now is more of a gamble in my portfolio. It can either continue to go up because Cerence is a highly short interested stock. Roughly 17% of its shares are shorted when this was last updated in December 15th. So obviously with the recent run-up, that could be a little bit different right now, but there's probably still high interest, which can draw more of a short squeeze. So this is more money that I already had in my portfolio that was kind of sitting. So I'd rather kind of take the gamble a little bit more and see what happens in the next few days, right? I mean, if Soundhound can't easily do about a 900% in the past year or so, there's nothing stopping Cerence to kind of do the same thing. Again, I personally wouldn't buy it if I didn't have it in my portfolio. It was dead money, and now that dead money has some optionality to do something. So again, very small position of my overall portfolio, less than 1%, but I just wanted to be honest with what I was thinking to do with my overall position. Now, again, I don't like this tactic as a investor, right? It's just them using NVIDIA's name to benefit some form of positive reaction for the overall stock. Now, the only thing I can see now bullish for this, and I want to say conversational AI has definitely lost its moat of where it's at. I believe that's why Soundhound, in my opinion, is valued at the same time. Obviously, stock prices can continue to go up. The market can be a lot more irrational and take a lot longer to be rational than you can handle. I mean, we saw this very similar in Cerence back in 2020, where the valuations were crazy. Now learning from past experience. This is not saying that I would ever short any of these stocks. I'm never going to say, hey, you should short this company, because at the end of the day, I understand the market can be crazy. But to me, I think conversational AI has lost its moat, and especially as large language models have become more of a commodity, and they are improving almost extremely at a high amount on a yearly basis, that every time we see the next generation of our large language models, I think conversational AI companies lose their moat even more and more. The only thing that I want to say can help out conversational AIs, especially Cerence in the mobility market, is if we're entering something like robotics, which is a form of mobility, that is a growth opportunity for them. Again, that's a very, very unique gamble. And I personally wouldn't buy Cerence at this moment. But like I mentioned, because it's dead money in my portfolio, I was honest with how I would use it. But as an investor, I also wanted to kind of showcase this press release, right? Because these are press releases that for me personally leave a bad taste. It's like there's really no benefits in Cerence with this partnership. It was just more saying that, hey, look, we're going to spend money using NVIDIA solutions to improve our solutions. Congratulations. That's every other company out there. So right now, the market definitely, anything tied up with NVIDIA and AI is definitely seeing a nice rise in price. And this is another industry, right? While I am bullish in the AI market, I believe there are stocks that are not representative of where the AI market is right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope my learning story or my overall story was also an experience of how I was as an investor back then. And again, how even though I was right about the AI market, it was still wrong in that investment, which I think is pretty funny, right? So take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.